Ryan. Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are at. Another week down, another one in the books. Staying pretty consistent for 2023, I might add. A little pat on the back for 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 yours truly and my host, Jay. I don't know why I have to keep introducing ourselves. You guys should know who we are by now. It's been almost a year since we've been doing this, so um, how was your weekend? Anything going on?
Great. Now, my daughter's about to go in the Air Force, so that's the only update
Mm.
I have.
Well, that should be exciting. Well,
Yes,
exciting for her. I mean, she gets to see a lot of places.
it's gonna be different. It's
Yeah,
gonna be different.
gets to see a lot of places too. I think if they're still doing the whole, every 2.5 years you move and whatnot. I mean, I guess it
Oh,
depends on what
okay,
she's going to do, but she'll
dude.
get a lot of traveling experience as well. Um, But this one, this topic we got this week, this is more so in your threshold, back in the early 1900s, because this is something I really not gonna have a whole lot outside of what history taught me in school, and even then it's kind of skewed because you only learn that history is only taught by the victors, right? That's what they say. So,
Yeah, all the victims.
well, I guess it could be the
Mhm.
victims, but
Yeah,
usually. It goes to the victors goes the spoils, as they say.
yeah, yeah. This is related to things that happened in the past and how effective they were to in change compared to why is it not being used now in that way. And I'm talking about boycotting, um, that method. In the 60s, during the racial divide, desegregation and segregation stuff, um, that was a way to um, demand or make change in something that was socially and economically wrong. And it was effective because it allowed people to say, okay, if you don't treat us a certain way, we're not going to ride on your bus or anything. We'll walk and other things like that, which it was an inconvenience to them as well. But when the revenue changed for that industry and they didn't have that money,
Mm.
they had to listen or they had to make that change. So that was just like the spark that allowed desegregation to come about. And why don't we use that today?
Well, couple of things. A
Okay.
couple of things as to why we don't use that today. One, everybody, you mean you have access to pretty much everything from the touch of a button. So you don't really have to say we're not going to ride this or that. You don't show up or have somebody deliver it for you.
Mhm.
Uh, the way you're going to be most effective now is still, the boycotting and everything, not by not buying something. However,
Mhm.
instead of going somewhere to meet and you know the picket signs and everything like that, you just get on Twitter or get on Instagram and send it, and it just gets spread like that. All the businesses are going to be on those platforms, so they're going to see
Mhm.
it, and then that initiates a response faster than you sitting there waiting maybe months, if not years, for that revenue to change on back in the day. Whereas it's pretty much instant now, and then people typically don't want to be around a whole bunch of other people for the most
Okay.
part, especially with everything that's been going, more so with everything that's happened recently. Everybody's trying to do it from a distance. I mean, don't get me wrong, you still have the people that still want to boycott and march and everything like that. But typically, everything is a lot quicker because you have more tools to access. those companies directly instead of
Okay.
just like maybe writing a letter or you know um, standing in front of the business establishment, something like that.
So when we talk about that, you're saying this new form is, putting it out there on social media and allowing your opinions or your um, topic to be heard to the masses. And then, but my problem is the response to that the same as the boycott method? Is it affecting the income? Now we could do it to individuals.
Hmm.
I see that. If somebody says something the wrong way, somebody said, "Oh, this person is this person is that." Let's say, let's stop watching their movies or whatever. They should lose their job and things like that.
Right.
But I'm talking about the collective. I'm talking about a large group, a large injustice that has that affects a particular group of people. Are we doing that method that it affects them economically today?
So are you okay? So to make sure I give my perspective, are you talking about a business or are you talking about um,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's been businesses recently that I mean, just look at Activision Blizzard. They
Okay.
did
I'm
wrong
not
by
familiar.
it's a
Hmm.
it's a gaming company, very
Okay.
prominent with like Diablo, World of Warcraft, all that stuff. Um,
Okay.
they made a couple of missteps amongst the community, and then
Hmm.
basically you had prominent figures that were supporting those games, like, no, we're tired of this or whatever. Send out a tweet or whatever,
Hmm.
it gets thousands upon thousands of retweets, likes, and stuff, and then they start boycotting, and then you see the Blizzard stock immediately start plummeting, like
Okay.
next day, just
Right.
going down,
Okay.
just going down the drain.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
you have those things. I mean, it's more so the influencers pushing it. Like usually, it's going to be an influencer pushing it that's going to have more
Okay.
reach than somebody individually just saying, "Oh, I don't like this, that, and the third." I mean, you do have those one-offs where somebody will say something, and then there's more like-minded people that get behind it, and it starts to snowball. But typically, if it's something that isn't liked, it's usually an influencer that's pushing for that boycott or something along those lines for that change
Mm.
or whatever agenda they may have.
Okay. No, no, no. And that's the effect of the boycott in a sense in the 60s.
Right.
And the same thing. Uh, and based on what you're saying, that especially with the stock market, if it affects the stock market, it affects that company,
Right.
and it's sending a statement. It's
Right.
sending a statement that, hey, you overstepped, or you better make a change,
Right.
or you're going to go out of business, or it's going to be economical
Yeah, I don't think that
hit.
the company's too big really to go out of business. There's a couple of
Right.
companies that are
It's
like that, but yeah, they're going to lose a lot of revenue. I mean,
That's
and
right.
then if you're an investor, that's when you strike. You buy up all the shares and everything, and then you round
Mhm.
up. But that's something for another time. But that's typically what happens in companies like that. If it's a smaller company, yeah, they
Mhm.
tend to just disappear off the face of the earth, and you
That's
never
right.
see
That's
from
correct.
them. Like, bigger companies like Fortune 500s, yeah, they'll take a hit. They'll be like,
Mhm.
okay, we send out our PR, we're sorry, this, that, and the third. I don't know if they're actually sorry, but they
Mhm.
in that immediate time frame, probably 3 to 9 months, they're doing the right thing until they turn around and do something else because it's a cycle. Like, let's see what else we can get away with. So they do it
Mhm.
again, and the same thing happens.
No, no, I was thinking that we weren't using that method, which is very effective
Hmm.
in issues where we go all the way to the left and don't do anything. You know, beauty supply stores, I was looking at stuff like that, things like where you're not treated like a customer, you're treated like a criminal
Hmm.
until you get to the register and pay. And And I'm like, why would you keep patronizing something that treats you like that when you can make a stand and say, hey, until you treat me better, we're not going to spend our money here.
Right.
But and I was sensing, this is my, observing certain things that people just don't want to be inconvenienced. So since that's the closest one, if that's
Right.
school, I'm just going to go there because it's convenient,
Right.
and not standing up for how they're being treated. And that could go into other things too. How you go in a restaurant, how you go into stores, big chain stores. The cameras on you all the way through
Hmm.
the store. That if we not allowed to be equal, well, we don't need to have our dollars. But I, that's just where I was looking at it.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
you were right. I mean, a lot of people don't want to be inconvenienced because there's so many other things that people are worried about nowadays. There's
Mhm.
a lot of other things, and then when especially if you have to drive, don't get me wrong, you can app everything to your house, but
Right, right. Like
for
you
the
said, click
people
of a button.
exactly, click of a button, it gets delivered to you. But for the people that drive to those places, they don't want to have to sit there
Mhm,
and spend more gas money to go out their way somewhere else because gas,
mhm.
those things are expensive now compared to where they were back in back in the 60s and everything like that. So those things play a factor in a lot of people that may feel a certain kind of way about a business or an establishment.
Mhm.
They're like, do I really want to go through the trouble to try and bring up, how I feel about this place, or am I just going to suck it up and eat there, or go to this place because it's
Right.
it's 5 minutes away and I don't have to go across town and waste gas to go. So yeah, it being inconvenienced does play a major factor in that, and I think that's why you don't see a lot of like establishments that are closer to people or people that know establishments are in the wrong. They don't really say
That's
anything.
right.
They just
They
deal with
don't
it
really say
because
anything. That's right.
they don't want to go out their way. But now as far as the people, yeah, the
Mhm,
people are quick to jump on top of each other for anything that they may
mhm.
do because they don't know that person. Like yeah, some people just want to watch the world burn. So
Right.
they'll
Okay.
go out of their way to try to cancel somebody because they don't like them because something great or something they did and they're like, well, I don't like the way he said this about something he did or whatever. I don't know,
Mhm.
whatever mindset the person might be in, and they're just waiting for a way. So it's two different things when it comes to, I guess, your boycotting or your canceling or
And
whatnot.
making a st right,
Right,
making a
right,
statement saying we're not gonna accept this type
right,
of treatment
right.
or service, and and everybody rallied together
Right.
to stand on that.
It's quick when it's a person, but if it's an establishment,
Yes.
it's dragging their feet. They're dragging their feet usually because it might be something that everybody else needs. So you're not going to see a
Mhm.
whole lot of rallying. I mean, you do get those amongst bigger communities. Like I said, the gaming community, that was one that because that they sell games yearly and they have a game that's been around for 20 some odd years. And
Right.
so, people in that community really are really passionate about that. So when that occurred, they're like, okay, we're going to stand up for this. I mean, and they listened. So now they've been listening going forward, and I think a lot of other companies saw that and be like, oh, well, let's not do what they
We're
did.
not gonna go there. We're not
Exactly,
gonna
exactly. Let's not do what they did. But some of
and
them
it
are
sends a message.
right,
It does send a message.
right.
So,
But some of
but
them are
some of
hard
them,
headed. Some of them are hard
okay.
headed and still do it and see if they can get away with it, and then they especially if they're a smaller company, and then they get blasted and then that's it. They're whatever they're trying to sell is dead in the water. So
Okay.
it's really odd that
That they would go at an individual
yeah
over a company.
over a comp yeah because especially when they know that the company is doing them wrong. That's the part that
That's
that
right. That's what I'm.
that's the part that kills me. It's like you already know what this company is known for, but it's convenient. But you'll go after or you'll believe
Jim, you go
yeah,
Billy or Rick because he said something. Oh, oh no, we got to. Got to shut him down. We got to no. He should never be able to live off of anything. Just go away. But this company or companies out there that just treat you like you said any kind of way, just don't care, just for the inconvenience. Uh, I'll still spend my dollars with them.
Right. I can't recall any company recently or that I've visited that had backlash or anything like that. I mean
Something with Budweiser, right?
but
Budweiser with the
I don't drink
I
Budweiser
don't,
though. So it's just
right, but I'm just saying
yeah,
they had it.
I know
Yes.
Bud Light just had something recently too. I think
Mhm.
they have something going on currently. But it's like I don't drink I don't partake in that stuff. So it's just like okay.
Okay.
So I'm one of those outliers. Just like
Right,
I'll just
right.
sit here and watch and look and see what's going on. And I don't
You
really
know, right.
have an opinion either way or the other.
Um, I, in our community, we spend a lot of money. And you hear about all these entrepreneurs now. You hear, oh, everybody's an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
Everybody's got their own business, selling the same stuff for the most part. But I like the mindset. I like the drive, but they still are not realizing that even in that process, you are we tend to spend our dollars, not win and not save it. So they cater to the people who are going to spend the money.
Right.
So if something's out there, what group is going to spend more than they say? And usually it's our community that does that.
Hmm.
So we have a lot of leverage if we use it to make things equal or make things better for us as a community, as a consumer, as one of the largest consumers. Um, if those Jordans cost, if they went up to $10,000 a pair, we'll be there buying Jordans.
Right.
So that type of spending power, we should be treated like royalty, but we're not. So, and I'm just saying, that's the leverage that we got, and it's nonviolent. It's not something you don't have to, do anything, but just keep your money in your pocket.
Yeah, I hear you. However, it's one of those things where it's just like it doesn't matter. We know you're gonna be back, like regardless,
That's
kind
right.
of
That's
thing.
that's
And
the attitude right there. You said it. You said it
so
right there.
that's how those business. It's like yeah, okay, yeah,
Okay.
you're complaining about this, but we'll see you next year when these new Jordans drop or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Or whatever it is that
because they're like
they
if you're not
cater.
gonna buy it, we already have a backlog of people that will come and buy our shoes and just keep it moving. So you have to get a large scale of people to band together to do something like that, and for something like Jordans, that's going to be hard to do because you have so many
But
people trying to make money off of that main product that the trickle down effect would be catastrophic for people that may have that as their livelihood. So they're not going to want to have that changed, even though yes, it would save them money. But they're like, I still need to make my paper. I have to go buy these Jordans so I can resell them for X amount of dollars or whatever the case may be. So that's
no,
the
I'm not trying to pick on Nike or any particular. But what I'm saying is the leverage that that you can have when somebody is treating you a certain way, a company or a business or anything, that you can say, hey, I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to yell at you. I don't have to curse you out. Like, oh, that's the first thing they want to tell you. Oh, I cursed them out. No, you didn't curse anybody. You didn't do anything because you went back there the next day and bought stuff. Well, it wasn't.
I mean it's that
So,
beating your chest in that moment kind of thing. Like I said, it would. There's too many. There's a lot of people that have interest for themselves, and that's another. It's a me mentality, and
Mhm,
that's a big problem with it. I mean, you can't really change that unless you do like
mhm.
autonomy or something like that. Have everybody have the the chips implant and everybody hive mind mentality or something like that. But
Okay.
like I said, with the internet and all that other stuff coming out, it changed a lot of people being more selfish and about them than worrying about the collective for the most part.
That's
Uh, and so, as long as that's going to be around, which is not going to go anywhere because we rely too much on it, uh, that's going to continue to be the case. Yeah, you'll have your small groups that'll reach out and do stuff, but then they'll get to the point of like, why are we doing this if nobody is
backing it.
backing it?
Nobody's supporting it. But they're still spending their dollars, making them millionaires and billionaires. But I'm still spending my money there, and they treat me like poop. You
Right.
know, what good? So, as a like you say, as a collective, it's all individuals. That's where we're in a society where we're becoming. I got good service, or I like the product. But I just don't talk to them, so I just get my stuff and walk out, even though they who
Right.
they are and how they treat you, but you try to find ways to put blinders on so you can
But
get what you need.
it's not me. So that is it's not me.
Exactly.
It's not me.
That's right.
So let me go ahead and get this. Let me go ahead and get this meal. Get these shoes. This it's not
That's
me
right.
they're talking about. It's not I wasn't the one got thrown out for this, that, and the third.
That's right. Just because I was sitting here and I was the only one here, so it's what it is to the point where you might yell for a minute and then it's forgotten. Oh, it's like it never happened. And like you said, just wait them out. Oh, they'll
They'll come
come back.
back. If it's
Mhm.
something, excuse me. If it's something that is
You have to
known,
laugh.
right? If it's something that is known, like
Mhm.
Jordans or yeah, like
Right.
the next any design. I think any
Any
designer,
design,
designer
right,
clothing, shoes,
purse.
food is kind of come and go because that
Yeah,
can change. But anything
right.
that is like you can keep it tangible,
Mhm,
like you have it in your
mhm.
possession and it's yours. Yeah, people are always gonna be like, oh, well, it wasn't me. Let me just go ahead and let me go ahead and get those $10,000 Jordans.
So the thing is, until we back in the 60s, it was a collective. Everybody was on that same boat and change happened. Now, oh, like you said, if it's a person, oh, that change will happen. They probably lose their job or they just be out of the industry completely. But when it comes to corporation and a little bit of sacrifice law, but they're not even caring to sacrifice a day. You
Right.
know, uh, it's just not there
Oh, and
because
I can give you a prime example. This
mhm,
was back in the day. I want to say, don't quote me on this. I want to say it
all right,
was Wells Fargo when they were
mhm,
opening up false accounts. The bankers were opening up false accounts, and people knew
right,
I'm gonna go to Wells Fargo to deposit my shit. It wasn't me. They didn't open an account under my name. So
right.
same kind of thing. I mean, and then there was something with
That's right.
Bank of America a little bit earlier
Bank
than
of
that.
America, I heard that. That's right.
I mean, yeah, they still have a tarnish with them, but I don't see anybody, like
So we taking our dollars and putting it someplace else.
right.
No, no.
But you do have more
So
options. I mean, I'll give you that. You have more options compared to what it was. Like, the prominent Bank of America. What was it? Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Navy Federal.
federal,
Uh,
um,
I think maybe Chase. Chase might have.
Chase is still there. Chase is
Yeah.
still
Uh,
strong
But now
because
you
a lot of
got a lot more choices now. So I guess that's
now
probably
you
why,
got Truist now is the
Like
new bank.
Ally or something like that. You got Truist,
Yeah,
Ally,
that's right.
SoFi. There's a bunch of them now. So you got more choices than what it
That's right.
was back then. So I
That's right.
think that's probably why you're not seeing a lot of people really. be up in arms because there's more. Well, that probably also plays a factor is that there's more choices now. So you don't have not a monopoly, but you don't have like a big three or
Right,
one major
right.
thing, maybe outside of Jordan's, but you still have other shoes. But
Mhm.
Jordan, that's a that's a whole beast in itself. But you have options, and I think that's probably why you don't see a lot of people, banded together do that boycott for one thing, because it's like you have it, but I don't. So what's the point of me, you know, doing the boycott for you?
That's right.
What's in it? What's in it for me? I don't get anything out of this. This is just one of those.
It's collective. You got to look at the big picture. It is sending a statement about a group of people not who dollars you rely on, you count on, is not satisfied. And and let's just if you want to take an approach and you want to be heard, you hit somebody's pocket and they'll start listening.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that, but like I said, back
Mm-hmm.
then in the '60s, you had the only what means of transportation was the bus, maybe a tat,
That's
maybe
like your own car.
yeah. But now you have what? You have Lyft, you have Uber, you have your own car. You still have the bus system, depending on where you're at in the city. You have trolleys, your subways. Like you have options. So I'm guessing that's probably what is, like I was saying earlier, that's hurting a lot of that collective because
Right.
not everybody's funneling to the same spot. So you may have a small collective for that one particular thing, but then it's just like, well, you have all these other options available to you. So what, just take those. You don't really need to make a statement or anything like that. Just avoid it and go do something else. I mean, I guess that would be another way to boycott, but
Yeah. Uh,
it's not one of those where you like you're all sitting there doing
oh
the
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Walking the streets and blocking
right.
traffic and things like that. But based on what you said, is other ways you can do it. You just get online, hit your thing, and people can say, okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop spending my money there too, and you could get a group or affect their stock
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. They'll start listening and maybe make some changes. I'm not saying you're gonna change everything, but it's better, as a collective, they will listen to you compared to one person just in the weeds yelling and saying, "Oh, I'm not going to shop there no more." They're like, "Okay, but
You were
100 million other people do." I
right.
mean, so okay, even though the 100 million other people getting treated like crap, but they just say, "Okay, it's so convenient. I'm not going to stop." We get that.
They'll throw a sale. It's like, yeah, remember
That's right.
they'll throw a sale out. You know how this goes. They'll throw a sale out real quick. Be like, yeah, we got a sale going on. Don't worry about all that other stuff that happened. There's a sale. You
But
get all your stuff on for the cheap.
we bumped it up way out there because you were willing to pay for it. So we bring it down to about half that. They'll jump right on it.
Right. Right. And it's I think it's once again I think it's a lot harder for individuals to do that if you're not
Mhm.
like an influencer or somebody that is well known in a community. Uh, like don't get me wrong, you can still have a video made on YouTube or some platform and it gets thousands upon thousands or millions of likes and retweets, posts and stuff like that. Eh,
Right,
but I think that's a little bit harder than you being an influencer for something and you already have a backing of
right,
500,000 or some odd people. You just put out one thing and that you're already affecting that company's bottom line just from that one thing you posted compared to somebody that doesn't have that following trying to post something and hoping that follow, somebody
but somebody might share it
like
with
yeah,
somebody else to
exactly,
pass. Right, like
exactly.
mine.
So uh, it's a lot easier to go to an influencer, but a lot of influencers are once again there for themselves or trying to look at their bottom line. It's like, is this going to impact me if I say something about this company, this, that, and the third, and
Mhm,
so it's a lot of, like I said, it's a lot of me mentality that goes on right now, but you also have a lot of options as far
mhm,
as other avenues to go about getting the same things. outside of the prominent things that you can't really try to make something along those lines, you get sued. So
Yeah, yeah, you get trademark infringement and all that stuff, licensing, everything. So is the new boycott from the 60s and before the 60s, is it what is it called now? Cancel culture? Or is that the new,
no, cancel
or
culture is
is that
more.
more individual boycott
It
or
could
individual
it
attack
it
or
could be both.
retaliation,
It
if you
could
want to
be
call that?
it could be both, but I mean, I see more of getting canceled as like if you do something egregious, um, like if you were a child groomer or something like that, and that comes to light, or something along those lines. Not necessarily for the business that may be in play. I don't really know about hearing people say, "Oh, let's go cancel this business," because the businesses. I really don't really hear that often as far as trying to cancel the business. Well, good.
Jack, can you hear you?
Uh-oh, I think we lost them. Well,
Can you
okay.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I apologize.
Are you good? Are you good?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I
sir.
can't.
Uh-oh. So like I was saying, we just uh
Sorry.
uh I don't really hear it more so for businesses. The cancel culture is more so for individuals. Um Business it's just really I don't really know what they say for the business. Maybe they can say cancel, but I haven't heard a whole lot of people would say let's cancel this business per se, unless it's like a small business. I don't hear anybody saying let's go cancel, Aeropostale or something like that. So it's really more so that term used for, I guess, individuals. So I really don't know what it'd be called for like company or, I guess, to answer your
So,
question,
so the cancel culture is for individuals, basically.
basically.
Hmm.
Because I mean, I've never heard of
Well,
anybody say let's go cancel this business unless it's like a small
that's right.
business. I
That's right.
mean,
They might say boycott. I guess it is boycott.
yeah,
It's still it's just not used.
right.
It's just not a method that's used, but it can be very effective. I think a lot of times we don't stand for ourselves. We just really don't care. I guess it's just I'm not gonna be inconvenienced. If I want that bag, I want this, I want that. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
It doesn't matter
I mean, it doesn't help
if
that we're also being told what to get and what to buy and stuff like that.
sure.
You,
So
you have those fashion shows. Like I said, influencers, double-edged sword. You have the influencers like, hey, you need to go get this, or I've tried this, you need to go buy it, and that and the third. Or they could be, the one spearheading the boycott. It really it really goes both ways. So you can't really I don't know. It's a slippery slope for sure as far as like
right,
what to do because you don't want to be inconvenienced, but at the same time you want to try if you are a good person or in the right mindset, you want to try and
that's
make
right.
a change for the better. But
For the better, not because some personal. This
right,
is like for the better. It's a good means of making your statement heard and getting some results from it. If you can do it as a collective. If you're the only one out there, man, you might as well just go keep shopping at that store. You might as well just keep getting because it's not gonna,
or
you
just
know,
order online. Just go and order.
yeah,
Don't worry about going to the store. Just order online. I mean, you can do that.
yeah, yeah,
Order somewhere else online.
yeah, because hey, as an individual, see, as an individual, you can be targeted as an individual making a statement, and nobody. It's not a collective. You you wasting time. You might as well just keep shopping there because you're not affecting their bottom line. So
Yeah,
you just
you were you were $500 out of the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're making off of whatever they're selling. So
yes, sir.
Yeah.
They'll be like, okay, bye. So when we, if we see that something's egregious, I think just like cancel culture, I really see that how effective that is when it's pointing at an individual. We can use the same thing with companies that don't treat you right, but we just don't. But I get it. But we do have the convenience of shopping someplace else, going to another company that has the same product and services. But
I
why
mean,
we don't?
you hear it all the time, but it's just, for instance, I'm just thinking of another one. Most of the internet companies and stuff usually put you on a. They say there's no contract, but you're in an agreement for a promotional. So have those, and just like, well, we're if you're sick of those, where else are you gonna go? You can't just go and get your own. You can't just go and make your own internet because those companies have a monopoly, and when another company tries to move in, they block them. So it's
Yeah.
just like it's one of those situations where the company has a stranglehold on a certain thing. There's nothing you can really do about it because then you're going to be without the service. So you may have an option of
For your
three.
hands are tied. You might
Exactly.
have,
You may have an option
right.
of like what Spectrum, AT&T, and Google maybe if you're lucky. But usually it's just Spectrum and AT&T in some areas. I mean, you may have Frontier or what's one of those other ones that I've heard. Frontier, Comcast, depending on where you're at. But usually Spectrum and AT&T are the big two. And I know when I was in Charlotte, Google tried to come in and AT&T blocked them. Google was trying to
Oh,
put in fiber and AT&T was like, nope, we're good.
look, we
AT&T
got,
blocked them. It was just like, I was like, okay, well,
yeah,
so much for
yeah,
those
yeah.
options. They were trying to put in fiber internet. So you can't. It just really depends. You have the companies that are
Because
they're playing the politics game and trying to keep everybody in house and not giving them those options. I mean, there's nothing in that situation. There's not really a whole lot you could do unless you have enough capital to make your own internet service. And I really don't think you want to try
yeah,
and do that.
yeah. But in the '60s, they didn't make buses, but they stopped. They stopped riding, and started walking. It was an inconvenience. They had to walk to work and stuff like that, and catch rides and carpool and things like that to get their um, concerns met or addressed. So, but it's a little different now. Like you said, you only got one internet provider. You're like, man, I don't like this service.
Where you gonna go? Where are you gonna go? That's what I'm saying. You have those situations in like the
Friction.
smaller
That's
towns
right. You
where you
do.
don't you
You
don't have a
do.
choice. You don't have a choice. So I mean, even if you wanted to raise your voice, well, not raise your voice, but make a stand or something. It's like, well, what do you
Yeah.
want? What's your next move?
You don't like these prices? Okay. All right. What?
What's your next move? Where are you gonna go? You gonna move to another city?
Uh,
I mean, you could do that. That's gonna cost you more
that's right.
than what it would for you to just continue
Pay the
paying
extra
us.
money
So,
for poor service.
right.
Even you may even be poor service. Every time the sun comes out, the
Exactly.
internet goes out. All
Exactly.
that. So
So it's one of it just really depends.
yeah.
Like I do know some people that were in those kind of situations where they only had one internet service. They're like, I can't wait for
Mhm.
such and such to get here.
And it's not there yet. Uh, Well, in those things, I understand. Certain things. I mean, now it used to be food, water, and shelter.
Hmm?
Now it's food, water, shelter, electricity, um, AC, heat, internet.
I think internet's
Yeah, some
probably one of
people, some
the.
people,
I think internet's probably
yeah,
in that top. I think a lot of
top
people.
three,
Yeah,
top.
but I think a lot of people couldn't go without internet for an extended period. Like they probably lose because they wouldn't know what to do because a lot of stuff is online.
Definitely without electricity.
Yeah.
Electricity is should is right after food. Shelter, food,
Uh,
water,
Well, it would
shelter,
yeah,
electricity. Electricity.
food, water, shelter. Well, yeah,
Electricity.
electricity and then internet. So it's in the top five.
That's right. That's
Internet
right.
is
It's
right
the
because
top
you
five.
can't have the internet without electricity, so it'd be right behind
Electricity.
electricity.
That's right.
So yeah, I really think people because they still make the board games and stuff, so you'd have something to
Mhm.
kill time, but people have all their stuff on their phones. I mean, unless you have your stuff accessible offline that you can
That's right.
do to keep yourself occupied. A lot of stuff you need an internet connection to access. So if you don't have it,
Yeah. So those five things, the big five.
right?
Anything outside of that is luxuries. So if you get mistreated in those areas, you should be able to boycott and make a stand.
You would hope. You would
You
hope.
would hope, so you know, just think about the stuff that you put up with and the services you get. If it don't meet that five, that big five, boycott it. Make a change.
Hopefully, hopefully that change doesn't end up costing you more than what it would just paying for the service. That's all I'm
That's what
saying.
you can't fight for everything. Everything's not worth a fight. But it's certain things that I feel that things happen and you hear a big roar about it, a big roar, and then it's forgotten. And the dollars keep coming in on that person. And they know that you're gonna spend their dollar there. You go to spirit stores, you go to beauty supply places and things like that. And even these big chain, shopping centers, you treat it like crap. But when you get paid again, that's where you spend your
You just
dollars.
got a sale.
So, so if it's outside of the big five, let's talk about it.
Good, and I wish you the best of luck, depending on where you're at. It's hard out there. Hard out there
That's
trying
right. I know.
because
I
they
know.
got strangleholds on everything. So you fight an uphill battle for
Yes.
majority. But yeah, I mean there were some similarities, but like I said, you have a lot more stuff now than what you did
Mm-hmm.
back in your era, as far as the buses. Because like okay, the only time I see somebody taking a bus is if they're going like out of state or traveling across. They don't really take the bus in state for the most part. Now you have like light rails and stuff like that. So you have other methods
Yeah.
of transportation now.
Transportation.
So not gonna really see a group organized now to stop doing the bus because you're gonna be looked at like, what are you doing? Like, just take the light rail.
Trying to get in shape. This is
just,
trying to get in shape.
just take the light rail. Call an Uber. Like, what's wrong with you? So
But no, I didn't see that method being used. And then, you heard about this cancel culture and things like that. But that's an individually targeted boycott,
mm,
basically. And then I guess the typical boycott is the boycott of goods and services of a major chain or company, I
right,
guess.
right. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I hope that brought some enlightenment to your whole boycott thing.
Yeah,
So it's like, yeah, it's a little
that's
bit
right.
different now. A little bit different
Right.
now, old
Right.
man. We don't have to do any of that arm to arm link standing. We
Like,
don't have to do that anymore. We
oh,
just send a tweet or post something on social media. That's pretty much it. Don't have to leave the comfort of your home. Just
I
enter.
get it. It's easier. It's enter. but but it's still uh, we have a community that spends. We are consumers. We spend our dollars, and if we feel that something needs to be changed for the better, not just being selfish and just if we're not being treated equally or right to a certain extent, we can stop spending our dollars with that particular company. Don't let that not be an option to um, show that is a change that might be needed in policy or whatever. ideology or whatever they have of that company that needs to be changed because it's not equal. It's not fair for everyone. So
Hope you all enjoyed this week's
that's
topic. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it. Uh, be- uh, oh my goodness, like, subscribe, and
mhm.
try to share one with somebody else if you thoroughly enjoyed yourself on the podcast. And we'll see you all next week. My topic, so you know it's going to be on point. And until then, and
Until
until
then, see you
you
next.
all take care and have a great rest
Take
of your
care.
week. We're out of here.
All
Later,
right.
everybody.
All right.